DevSecOps, the future of DevOps. And here to talk about it is Courtney Nickerson, who is a DevSecOps and DevOps specialist at HDiv Security. So Courtney, thank you for being here. And I'm going to hand it over to you.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Katrina. So good afternoon. My name is Courtney Nickerson. I am a DevOps and DevSecOps specialist at HDiv Security, specialize in web application security tools. I'm also a developer advocate for CubeShop, and it's a pleasure to be here with all of you today in the support of DASA DevOps community, and congratulations to all the nominees and winners. Really exciting times. Today, I'll be taking a look at DevSecOps. We're going to define what DevSecOps means and take a look at the business benefits of adopting DevSecOps and a strong security culture. We're also going to discuss what, or maybe who, the main culprits are making the addition of security to the DevOps pipeline such a difficult task. And we'll discuss how you can make DevSecOps a reality for yourself and your team. Next slide. So DevSecOps is meant to enhance the DevOps philosophy by adding security to all stages of the SDLC. It's a natural and necessary response to the bottleneck effect that the older security methods that no longer fit the modern CI/CD pipeline can take care of. The correct incorporation of DevSecOps approach should bridge the gap between traditional IT and security practices and ensure faster and safer delivery of code while eliminating siloed teams. The siloed teams are eliminated because communication just naturally increases as those teams collaborate, ideally talking about their security issues. It naturally increases the communication amongst people. So next slide. The business benefits of adding security policies within agile frameworks are many. For example, DevSecOps allows teams to secure the code base from its inception, automate continuous testing and evaluation practices. And over time, this decreases costs drastically and increases the return on investment and potential business growth. Transparency and openness among teams is also encouraged and results in a higher production rate and faster time to market. And secure by design practices provide measurable insights to global security initiatives and tools used throughout your pipeline, allowing for faster identification of security issues, and obviously recovery from any security incident can be much quicker as well. As DevSecOps practices extend, all teams become well-versed and trained in security as part of their onboarding process, and overall security in the company's crown jewels and client information increases exponentially. So ultimately, DevSecOps helps establish a security culture at all levels of a company while leveraging the benefits and speed of DevOps, allowing for continued and accelerated business growth above all. Next slide. So security culture, does it matter? It definitely does. But what is security culture and where's the benefit for your company? Security culture is a team's shared attitude above all, their attitude, perceptions, beliefs regarding cybersecurity. And the biggest drivers of solid security culture are often security policies and how those policies are actually communicated and enforced. So there are many benefits of creating a security culture in any company, no matter the size. And I think that's really important because oftentimes we're thinking this is a big company issue, but it's not. It's really something that needs to be considered across the board. So for example, the stronger your security culture is, the more likely your workforce will exhibit secure behaviors. And as a result, your organization will obviously be much more secure. So according to a Verizon data breach incident report in 2021, people were involved in over 85% of breaches globally. So the human element is a risk every organization needs to be actively managing, and a strong security culture creates a safe environment for that to actually happen. Additionally, according to the same survey, a strong security culture results in more successful security initiatives throughout the entire company. So this is a value many people overlook when they're thinking about developing a security culture. If you yourself take a moment and you think about the many different security initiatives going on in your organization, or that you've tried to roll out initiatives like vulnerability management programs, secure code training for your developers, cloud migration, or even just a simple rollout of a password manager for your entire workforce. And you could stop to consider how many of those initiatives have failed, stalled, or maybe just been partially successful. Often the lack of success in these projects is linked to weak security culture. And with a bit of strategy and a little bit of guidance, all of these projects can actually see more success, especially if you have a company that's already incorporating DevSecOps practices into their CI/CD pipeline. So next slide. So this leads us to our final question for today, and in my opinion, the most interesting one. If DevSecOps is the future of DevOps, what or who? And I think that's something that is going to be surprising. Who is making the adoption of security practices so difficult to achieve? So according to Cybersecurity Ventures, they reported that the global cost of cybercrime is going to exceed $6 trillion USD this year. It's an astounding number, and it just continues to go up. So it's easy to understand why security has become the #1 concern for businesses today. Cloud computing, internet access, globalization, all of the use of mobile phones, all changed the world that we're all currently living in and that organizations are operating in. And many, many security risks are out there that involve your systems and client information. So for the past 3 years, I've been fortunate to spend endless hours speaking to and collaborating with professionals around the globe, learning about DevSecOps, their initiatives, and promoting the concept itself. And while most of my conversations revolved around the different concerns that different teams have working on development and how to deploy securely, I did end up discovering a few challenges that I want to share with you today that we as a collective actually face when trying to add security into our DevOps pipeline. So the first issue is that regardless of company size, geographical location, and available resources, DevOps has become the preferred methodology used by teams around the globe to permit faster software development and deployment. But while many teams are successfully employing DevOps basics, the actual pipeline itself, along with the responsibilities carried by different team members, looks very different. From one company to the next, things can drastically change. And so our DevOps pipelines are not just specific to teams, but they're industry specific and end user specific as well. This means that security issues and concerns are also just as diverse as our teams and our pipelines, and there's no one tool or one method that can fit all and fix things for everyone. Just as DevOps pipelines are unique to each company, so must be their security practices, and that makes things difficult. Second challenge facing many teams is that not only do two DevOps pipelines not look the same, but there's also no clear answer regarding who's responsible for security. That might be surprising, but when people have been asked, they don't always give the same answer. So while everyone understands the concept of DevSecOps, for most, that's all it is. It's a concept and idea, and few teams have truly embraced security as everyone's responsibility, and many are still struggling to even put security at the top of their priority list. So just as Sec was an afterthought to the DevOps methodology, security has continued to be an afterthought in many DevOps pipelines and priorities in spite of the growing dangers of weak security policies. And finally, maybe the biggest challenge of all is the one that many of us overlook. Everyone is always talking about shifting left. And in this argument, developers take a lot of the blame, almost all of the blame, for insecure code and lack of interest in coding security. However, many of our tech colleagues overlook the fact that dev teams are not the ones deciding on company strategy based on fast releases without a security focus. Rather, CEOs are often the people controlling budgets, priorities, and business strategies. And as a result, they're a big part of their security problem. So while the increase of cyber crime during the pandemic has helped many CEOs understand the severity and magnitude and threat of security attacks posed to their business, the reality is that most have very little understanding of what their company's security issues are, how their SDLC functions, what workflows have been established by their teams, let alone how to identify their business critical applications or create security strategies based on this overall business goals. So for companies with an experienced information security officer, this isn't as big of a deal. However, Security Ventures also reported this last year that even Fortune 500 companies and Global 2000 companies only started ensuring that they have an in-house CISO or an equivalent this past year. So too often business leaders throw money at a problem, hoping that a larger budget's going to fix it. But cybersecurity spending that's piecemeal without strategic focus oftentimes leaves teams with tangled mess of products and services that don't actually work together, or technologies that their staff doesn't know how to use effectively. And that just continues to cause problems with our security initiatives. So PwC's 2021 Global Digital Trust Insights Survey found that 53% of security executives say they're not confident that their cyber budgets mesh with their strategy of the enterprise that they're working for and its business units, and they're also unsure that organizations' cyber spending addresses the risk of the company faces. No solid data is actually used oftentimes for the basis of setting priorities when we're talking about security. When speaking with teams in small and mid-sized companies, many lacked business knowledge or jargon to feel confident to take their security concerns higher up the chain of command, and that's obviously a problem for many as well. So often we speak about siloed teams, and we're only referring to those in DevOps pipelines. However, in many of my conversations over the past 3 years, it's been surprising to see how siloed teams actually become outside of our DevOps pipeline. So what can CEOs do better to secure and promote DevSecOps? I think we need a next slide here. Yep, thanks, perfect. How a company plans to grow should be the driver of every program in the organization, including cybersecurity. Far too often, cybersecurity isn't even considered. Cybersecurity strategies work best when a CISO is crafting them and they fully understand the company's goals and plans for achieving their business initiatives. And with a good understanding of company vision and business strategy, a CISO and an experienced DevOps team and its members can help CEOs and other departments fully understand and mitigate their cyber risks that each organization faces, and strike a much better balance between the complexity and the simplicity of projects in both DevOps pipelines and business growth. So simply stated, to be cyber secure, CEOs must truly get to know their businesses from the DevOps pipeline up. Humans are naturally resistant to change, and this is terribly true when it comes to DevSecOps initiatives. I'm terribly passionate about getting that to change. And we all know that there's a need for integrated and automated approach in security. So today, as we part ways, I hope you'll be encouraged to take part of the challenge that we all need and want to see as we create DevOps practices for the future and start making DevSecOps a reality for your team. Consider the unique security needs and initiatives of your DevOps team members by focusing on workflows and discussions around security and secure releases rather than just fast releases. Be persistent and take small steps toward creating a strong security culture at all levels of your company. And finally, let's stop leaving the CEOs in the dark. Let's be bold, jump out there and talk to them about our teams, what we do, why integrating cybersecurity as a key factor to overall business strategy and growth is integral to ensuring future business success. Thank you so much and have a wonderful afternoon.